Welcome to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida's new and exciting weekly radio show. A show focused on businesses in Bay and surrounding counties. Business Between the Lines is hosted by Christy Kirkland, a business accelerator with Answer Marketing, and co-hosted by Jason Price, a video guru with Riplify Media.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
And everyone, welcome back to ESPN Northwest Florida's newest radio show, Business Between the Lines. I'm your hostess, Christy Kirkland with Answer Marketing, a business acceleration firm here in Bay County. I manage pro groups like the A-Team Power Connectors, the Smart Team, which is a continuing educational training group for entrepreneurs looking for the answers, the Leaders Group, a support group for pro women, and the Loyal to Local group that is responsible for the cash mobs and more. I'm thankful to be, again, sharing business banter today with Jason Price, owner of Riplify Media.
Hey guys, Jason Price here, owner of Riplify Media. We're a video production company that focuses on building video content for businesses that helps them to be known and understood, which ultimately leads to them being noticed and increasing their sales and helping them get towards whatever goal that they have. It's our hope today that our combined experiences and those of our guests that we're going to have will be something that as you're listening to it will be a benefit to you. And that this new radio show, Business Between the Lines, will be of value to the local business community and all of its, budding entrepreneurs.
It will be packed with weekly value in the form of tips to help you on your journey, continuing educational tidbits, community spotlights with either a local business professional or small business, and whatever else we can squeeze in.
Exactly. So guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with today's guest, Ryan Vess. He's going to be sharing with us how you can overcome extreme obstacles in your life. Ones that makes most people just want to give up. So if you're curious, well, stay tuned. You do not want to miss out today's guest, Ryan Vess.
We'll be right back. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
Hey, Ryan.
What's up, y'all?
And everyone, welcome back to ESPN Northwest Florida's newest radio show, Business Between the Lines. Jason and I are here with Ryan Vess, a really good friend of mine. I've known him for quite a while. And you guys, anyone that's been following the show or following the lead-ins when we've been talking about the show and our mini-series that we just pumped out a couple of those, you get that the whole concept behind this show is to bring in community leaders and to share educational tips with our community to let you know you're not alone. And there's ways to get past things and there are ways to overcome stuff and just kind of to inspire our community to keep plugging forward. And Ryan and I have talked about this. It's been a while, but his past and the things that he's overcome is the perfect story for what I'm wanting to cover in today's show. So with no further ado, Ryan Vess, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
All right. Well, first of all, I want to start out by asking how my hair is. Second, I want to let the audience know that Christy prepped me for this about 30 seconds ago. So it's not something that I've spoke about for a very long time, probably a half a decade, and I'm going to stumble through it, but I'm sure these guys will help me out a little bit. I started out, I was born in Avalon Beach, right outside of Pensacola. I was born virtually with a silver spoon in my mouth. Now, my parents were not rich by any means, but we had a 2-story house on the water, and I had a boat by the time I was 5 years old, if that tells you anything. My parents helped me come up through high school. They helped me start a business. They helped me into college, and then I just decided to spit out the silver spoon. I could do it all on my own. And I went down a path that a lot of us, I'm sure, tried to go down. I watched a lot of TV, a lot of gangster movies, and I really wanted to be Eminem when I was a kid. We're going to skip a little bit there, but towards the market crash in 2008, I had a very successful business, and when it went out, I never actually stopped. I kept spending money. I had houses, I had boats, I was on top of the world. And when the money stopped and the bank accounts dried up, everything went away from me. At that point, I switched to some other areas in life, which I'm sure quite a few people have from time to time. And I ran it down to the point where I live behind a dumpster. Now, if anyone knows where Cervantes Street is in Pensacola, I lived behind the Relax Inn. There's a lot going on down in that area, and I'm sure you can Google and see all about all of that. Shootings every day, stabbings, drugs, whatever the case. I lived there. It was a very, very rough time in my life because my pride would not let me go back to my parents, wouldn't let me do anything. And it came to a head at such a point where I was almost starving to death. I weighed about 125 pounds. I didn't speak to anyone, ever, unless I was stealing food or stealing clothes. And that's real. That really happened. Sorry, God. At one point, it finally came to a head where I got taken away, and I was put in a place where I had a lot of time to think. And I mean a lot. I read a lot of books too. About 30 days before I got out of that situation, I looked up at the ceiling and something just clicked in my head. And it wasn't any much more than a revelation. Everything I had ever been through that plagued me, that caused me any kind of grief, addictions, all of that, it just went away. Now, I'm not a very religious man, but I do believe in God, and He relieved me of every single bit of that. When I got out of that situation, I had absolutely nothing. So I went from the streets to a place where I had nothing, not even my self-dignity, back to the streets. I borrowed $800 in a blow-up mattress. And I had a guy allow me to move into a one-bedroom apartment with no floors and no toilets. I literally had to get up and climb out the back window to use the restroom in the middle of the night. It was like that. Now, a lot of people have been down similar roads in similar areas. And my mine is no more important than yours or your story. It's just different. Just different. I had enough drive in me after receiving my relief in my little $800 in my blow-up mattress that I started working. And a guy gave me an opportunity, a guy that owns Art Construction named David Bowers. He let me start roofing houses, which is one horrible job if anybody ever wanted to know. And I started out making $8 an hour shooting shingles on a roof. And I worked my way up from there. I learned how to do every different type of roofing. I saw what actually made money in the companies. I started becoming a salesman. And I took that and I flew with it. They allowed every single door to be open. And then I met this lady here. And she put me up in front of 50 business professionals. And I stood up and then I sat right back down. I was like, no, we are not doing that. She kept on this. She did not give up on me, just like David Bowers didn't give up on me. And the doors kept opening. Christy finally taught me to speak in front of people. That right there was worth $1 million. I sold 475 roofs during the last storm. Now, I don't know if y'all know roofing, but that is a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
That would have never happened if she hadn't made me speak to people. I lost my fear. She asked me to be on a radio show. I'm freaking terrified, but I'm sitting right here right now.
That's right, man.
Yeah. Now, through all that, this guy, David Bowers, I've been with for almost a decade at this point. He has allowed me to open up a different division of the company. Now I'm a 50% partner in our marine construction division with a man who took a chance on me out of a hopeless situation.
Wow.
So I went from living on the streets to living in a house on the water in a decade by not giving up. All that stuff that plagued me is gone now. And I do have some PTSD from it, in a sense. I have flashbacks. You know, every now and then something just hits me out of the blue. But it's just more drive. It just makes me fight harder. There is no way in the world I would ever stop. You know, and in the middle of all this pushing, I did meet a beautiful woman named Candace. I won't tell you her last name. She's got a rough family. And I got 2 beautiful kids whom I am actually adopting as we speak.
Wow.
So I came out of all that to have a fairy tale life.
Right.
And there is nothing, not one thing that I would actually change from my experiences.
And that is why I asked you on the show. Everyone, it is seriously one of those things that you step back and you take a look at what you're going through and just realize you're not alone. There's other people that have suffered and struggled and keep pushing forward and keep moving forward and come through some really traumatic situations to have a good life. And it is possible. But a lot of us think we're in it alone and we can't keep pushing forward. And you need to find good people. We say this just about every show. Find good people, find your tribe, and pull them in close and get yourself out of there and keep trying, keep pushing forward.
Yeah. Ryan, I love such a key thing in this is it's so easy for anybody in a situation like that to just think, okay, well, this is just what life is. Like being behind a dumpster, not knowing anyone,
And just
not communicating with my family, just give up. And this is all that it is. But for all of us, there's this time where we have to then accept, okay, this is not my destiny. This is not where my life needs to be. I have the ability to make a choice and then step out. And then with the help of friends, with the help of family, those who love you, then move on to what's next.
Right.
And now, like, I'm getting chills. Like, now hearing, it's not every day that you get to speak with somebody who went from just about as far to the bottom as I could see to then, where you're at right now. And congratulations.
I appreciate it,
on
man.
the kids.
I do.
Guys, thank you so much for being a part, of this segment. Here in a bit after the commercial break, you can join us as Christy and I continue more on this conversation about overcoming obstacles. Anytime you're in business, whether you own the business or you work in the business or you're like Ryan and you start from the bottom and you become a part owner, there's gonna be struggles and there's gonna be obstacles. So we're gonna talk about some of our struggles, some of the obstacles we've had to overcome, things that we know other people have. So we really hope you stick by after this commercial break and join us as Christy and I walk through this all together. We'll be right back.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
Woo! If you guys are just tuning in, you're going to have to play this back because our last segment with my very, very dear friend, Ryan Vess, was just, woo!
You've known him for years. I met him 15 minutes before he walked into the studio and didn't know anything, about his story.
I saw it on your face. It was just kind of like if
wow,
your mouth
I thought
was
this
on
was going to be real, but it was real.
Yes. And that is exactly one of those things where we are trying to bring to everybody in the community. And the reason we're trying to bring these community guests and spotlight speakers and stuff to you is to show you that normal people here in our community have struggled and have overcame and have pushed past all of these barriers and stuff. Obstacles do not have to stop you. They don't have to define you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. You have to figure out how to climb it, how to bust through it, or how to work around it.
Exactly. And what I loved about what Ryan said was anytime there's someone that has gone through just absolute hell and has then stepped out of it, there's always this defining moment of them realizing, okay, does not have to define me. This does not have to be my life. This is not my destiny. I can step out, and then figuring out, okay, what is that step that I need to take? Or what is that person that's been reaching out, who's been there, okay, maybe I finally need to say, like, okay, like, I'm ready to step out of this.
Right. And the key takeaway, some of these that you guys have to think about is we can't do it for them. We can't pull them out until they're ready. And that's what Ryan was saying. He was not ready. He was struggling. He was down. He kept sinking lower and lower and lower. And then he decided, okay, enough is enough. I'm ready to make a step.
Exactly.
And then he found the people to surround himself with to help him to keep taking those steps up and stuff. So if you have friends out there that are struggling, I feel for you. I understand. It's not something that you can fix them. We're not responsible for their happiness or their successes.
Responsible to be there.
Yes.
But you are not.
They have to make that decision first. And then
it's for everything. It's like whether you have someone in your life who really struggles with anxiety or it's depression or it's some sort of addiction, like anytime, and this is for me and like stuff that I've struggled with, is anytime someone else, you and I have talked about this a lot, and on the miniseries too, if someone else tells me, okay, this is what you need to do in order to improve yourself, I can do it for a day or two, but then I give up because it wasn't a motivation that came from me. Like the person dealing with the crap has to be the one to actually make the decision of, okay, I'm done with this and I'm going to step out of this. This is not who I want to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and it's not going to be easy. And we talked about it in one of our mini series about creating habits and stuff. It has to be your reason. You have to have that drive. You have to say, I'm doing this for me. I want to do this for me. And you have to start with small baby steps and keep moving forward and just don't give up.
Exactly. It's funny, speaking of baby steps, I have a very, very, very good friend of mine, and the other day he was telling me his story, kind of akin to what we just heard from Ryan, of having a lot of struggle that came from a lot of really bad decisions over time. It wasn't some major one big mistake, but a lot of small decisions that led to him being down a really bad path. And one day he made the decision of, okay, this is not where I want to be anymore. And for him, he was making several smaller. He's like, hey, if it was a lot of small decisions that got me down this road, and it's a lot of really good decisions that are going to get me up to it. So you don't have to do this overnight transformation, just every day getting a little bit closer to the person that you know that you can be.
Yeah, and I love that Ryan came on here and was so open and honest and shared. I mean, that's hard for some people to open up their dark side and put it out there to the world and stuff, but that's one of the biggest things that I really wanted to make sure we did with this show, is to show real people that having real problems. We talked about it in our break about how it's great and it's nice to see somebody that's up there big and making it, a movie star or something, talk about their struggles and stuff, and we say, oh, good for them, and it's a little motivational, it does help. But then when we look back and we say, okay, the motivation that we got from that is very short-lived, because we can't really relate.
Because it came from somebody else, not from you.
Yeah, but our community has amazing people with amazing stories that are persevering, and don't give up. Don't give up. Keep pushing through. Find your good people, find your tribe, and surround yourself with them. And, make sure you're giving as much as you're getting from them. You don't want to drain them completely, but you've got to find those people.
I heard my pastor like 7 or 8 years ago or something. He was up on stage, preaching on Sunday morning. He had this fence that was physically on the stage that they had built. And he talked about how you have people that are inside of your fence and then the people that are outside of your fence. And the inside of your fence are the people that you actively want to have an influence on your life, and how important it is. You can love people outside of your fence, of course, but if someone's inside of your fence, it better be someone that you look up to and that you want to be, you want to be like them, and you want them to have an influence on your life. Because the second you have someone who's on the outside influencing you, then that's how you just start, messing up yourself.
It makes it a whole lot harder
Surrounding
to
yourself
get
by
past.
the right people.
Yeah, but we've all been through it. This community has taken some serious blows, and you have to find also a way to laugh at it. And I mean, we do it very well. And if you don't laugh at it, I'll laugh at it for you. It's one of those things that we have to find those people that will help us see, the positive side of things, and say, okay, what did you learn from that? And don't let it just totally suck you down into an abyss. But even though you overcome something, it doesn't mean, okay, now I'm in the clear and now everything's going to be great. You have to still really, really love on those tribe, because you're going to need them again. It's a guarantee. Something's going to happen. Something's going to smack you in the face again. The contractor is going to say, oh, we were going to be here on Friday, and guess what? We don't have any stock in, so it's going to be a couple weeks, and there's another smack. And you got to find, it's like, okay, so we don't have siding, or we don't have, a window. Let's put some plexiglass up there and take funny pictures behind it and say, eventually we're going to have a window here. And just enjoy life and keep trying to find that positive side to help you through some of those tough times.
Yeah. It's funny that we're talking about this subject because this morning, my wife, my brother-in-law, and my mother-in-law we're all talking about this because my brother-in-law was talking about how at his school they're having this whole 2-week-long thing on mental health and depression. He was like, I don't understand why first period has to be talking about this, and then it really led to a great conversation for all four of us to really talk about how there's so many people, whether it be because of the storm, whether it be because of where we're at, whether it be because of COVID or because of all of that happened in 2020 or what have you. There's so many people, myself included, that you can get yourself in this just pit of depression and feeling like there's no hope and feeling like there's no future. And the main thing that we talked about was whenever you have someone in your life that's dealing with something like that, some of the best thing you can do is just to be with them. And just to let them know that you're there and that you're thinking about them. They don't always need a very long, encouraging, message, because sometimes even that, if you're really in a pit, and I've been there last year, where that then tells you, oh, wow, they look so happy. I will never be that happy. Yeah. So just being close, which is why we always talk about surrounding yourself with good people, find your tribe, and get to where you've got people that are going to be there for you, no matter what sort of stuff you're going through.
Yeah, the first thing I always start out with when I have someone in my inner circle that is struggling, I say, I'm here for you. It's that simple sometimes, and make sure you are, because they reach out. I mean, I've reached out to some of my friends and I'm like, I'm here for you. It doesn't matter what time. If that phone rings at 10 o'clock, you need to answer because you've offered. So make sure you follow through with that, because our community does need everyone to step up and be there for the rest of us. I mean, think about it. A couple years ago, this was not happening, and there was a lot more people that you could rely on to boost you up, and now everybody's in that pit, so we have to fight even harder.
And imagine a world where everybody is always there for each other, and we're all listening, and we're all seeking to understand each other. Guys, thanks so much for being here, for listening to Ryan's story, for listening to our story. Thanks for being a part of this episode. Big thanks to our sponsors for this episode. Thanks again for always watching Business Between the Lines. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Between the Lines. Join us every Sunday morning beginning at 8 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.